Welcome. We're on the red couch for Mother's Day with special guest Shelton Quarles, former middle linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who will tell us about his wonderful and extraordinary mom. Shelton is now the coordinator of pro scouting for the Bucs. He has won numerous honors, including the Ed Block Courage Award, the Point of Light Award given by the Florida Lieutenant Governor, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. Since 2004, Shelton and his Impact Foundation have raised over $600,000 and provided assistance to at-risk single-parent families throughout the Tampa Bay area. Shelton, I am so thrilled to have you on the red couch.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Yes, ma'am.
I would love to hear about what it was like just to grow up with your mom. Just what was it like as a kid?
It was fun. You know, she had me when she was 15, so it was more like a brother-sister relationship than a mother-son. So we had a lot of fun times and did a lot of fun things together.
Wow. Now, was it true that you lived in the same room until you left for college?
I did. I shared a room with my mother, and she would wear my clothes on occasion. And and one time I remember looking for a pair of jeans that I owned, and I couldn't find them. She had taken them to the cleaners and forgot they were there, so she had worn them. So, but she was a funny lady.
That's very sweet. So you grew up with your mom and your grandmother and an uncle?
Yes, ma'am. And it was interesting, the dynamics of our relationship, because my mother, her name was Pam, and so everybody called her Pam. Well, my grandmother, they called her Ma because she was their mother, so I called her Mom and called my mom Pam.
Oh, you're kidding?
For the majority of my young life.
That is really neat. Now, what was the story you were telling me about when you were in second grade?
Well, when I first when I used to spend time with my mother, she had the most unbelievable penmanship. So I would ask her to write different things for me, and so she started writing her name, and I got in trouble one time when I was in school, and so I started to write her name, and then I traced it, and I kind of got in trouble. The teacher knew that it wasn't her signature. And then also when I was in the second grade, the teacher passed me, and at the end of the year, my mom asked, well, why did you pass my son? She said, well, he had these big brown eyes. I just loved him to death. And my mom said, she said, that's not what I want for my son. I want him to understand the importance of education. So she made me repeat the second grade. And from that point going forward, I made straight A's.
Wow. And then you were in the National Honor Society in high school, went to Vanderbilt College.
I did, and I wouldn't have been able to get into school if it wasn't for my mom and the importance of academics that she placed on.
That's really, really wonderful. And you did calligraphy was it for the diplomas for Vanderbilt?
It was actually in high school.
Oh, in high school.
My freshman year, I took a architecture class, and one of the principals came in and asked me, is there anybody here that can do calligraphy? And there was 4 or 5 students that raised their hand, and so she said, well, let me get a sampling of each person, and then I'll decide who does the diplomas. And so I ended up doing the diplomas for my 4 years I was in high school.
Wow.
I got paid for it also, and I got to miss class.
Wow, that's even better.
Yeah.
So did you write your own diploma?
I did. I made mine a little special,
yeah,
a little more fancy than everybody else's.
Good plan. I like it.
Yeah.
Now I know because your mom was a single mom, and you saw how it's a struggle to be a single parent.
It is, and but you know, she did the best she could. I was a latchkey kid, so I would go home and let myself in the house, and so I got in trouble a couple of times doing that as well.
So, but would you start making dinner for her, or
I would.
Was that what you were telling me?
She taught me for the most part about being domestic. So my mom taught me how to cook, how to clean, and I would start dinners. And then my uncle, I learned about building cars and engines, and from my grandmother, hard work, because she worked 3 jobs until she passed away. So I got some good lessons about life from those 3 individuals that played a special role in my life.
I'll say. That's cool. Well, your wife must be so happy. You know how to cook. You keep everything clean.
She doesn't have to do too much. You know, I'm very meticulous about everything. So my clothes are color coordinated in my closet, and everything stays folded neat. She doesn't pick up after me. I do more picking up after the kids than she does for me.
That's very lucky.
Yeah, she appreciates it.
Now tell me about Impact Foundation. How did you decide to start it? Was it because you had grown up in a single parent environment?
Well, for the most part, when I got to Tampa in '97, Coach Dungy asked if we would get out and be a part of the community because they support us in such a major way. And so uh, I met my wife in '97. We were engaged for a while, and then we got married. But every Tuesday was a day off during the season. But I would spend my Tuesdays out in the community doing different things. And it's kind of like when you go to the well, you just continue to go when that person says yes. And so I was a person that always said yes to everything they asked. And my wife said, well, we need to focus your energy on something that you want to do in particular, because if not, I won't see you ever during the season because you're playing on the weekends and then you're gone on Tuesdays. And so we started the Impact Foundation in 2004 for that reason.
That was a great idea. So you focus on at-risk single-family households.
Mm-hmm.
And I love your signature program, the Home Blitz.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, we pick one or two deserving mothers from our area, from the Tampa Bay area, and we go in and do an extreme homemaker on their homes. And so we do roofs, walls. We have a great interior design company called Studio M that goes in and they do a lot of the prep work for us, but they tell us what we need to do to make their house something they can be proud of.
That's so great. So how do you pick? Is there a certain criteria that they have to meet in order for them to be chosen?
They have to do an online submission, whether it's themselves or somebody who nominates them, and they go through that process, and they have to have a steady job, and it's a criteria that they have to meet in order to be qualified for a makeover.
Okay, so you send them away on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
So while they're away having fun, you guys are busy working,
Mm-hmm.
and what's it like when they come back?
It's amazing because you see the transformation from start to finish. You get an opportunity to see all the things that was wrong with the house, and then see all the things that are right with it when they come back. And so, the last family we helped last year, they would never invite any of their friends over because they were so ashamed of what their house was like inside, and so they never invited anybody. And so when they came back, all they could do was cry and just think about how many get-togethers they would have at their home. And so the very next weekend they had a sleepover with their friends. So
that makes me want to cry just hearing about it. That's so beautiful. That's such a nice, wonderful thing to do. There's so many ways that you can help people build confidence in themselves, and that is such a really important part of your life, your home. You know, to have your home something that you're really proud of.
Mm-hmm.
And so what was it like? Did you do the cutting?
We do the ribbon cutting.
Yeah.
And it's just fun just to see their eyes light up and how happy they are when they get back to their new home.
That's such a beautiful thing. Now, do you keep in touch with the people?
I do. We go out and get gifts for them during Christmas time, and so we still have relationships. And I'm supposed to go and speak to one of them, one of their kids groups at school this Sunday coming.
That is so nice. Your mom must be so proud of you.
She is, but I'm more proud of her.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for part 2 of The Red Couch with our special guest, Shelton Quarles. Stay tuned for part 2 of this interview on The Red Couch.